Thank you, Carrie. Yes, it was beautiful. Beautiful football weather in Orchard Park on Sunday night, where the Buffalo Bills and San Francisco 49ers did battle. Two teams that appeared to be Super Bowl contenders entering the year, but only one actually seems to fit that bill now as we enter December football. Bills 35, 49ers 10. Another calamitous evening for San Francisco, Marc Sessler. I know we were all in agreement that this felt like a tough situation. The banged-up Niners, once again, missing Trent Williams. Brock Purdy clearly not 100%. All the other injuries that they've been dealing with this season. But, it was almost when Christian McCaffrey takes one false step and crumples to the ground, not to be seen from again. And, very decent chance we don't see him until 2025. The way it looked there. I mean, it just sums up everything that went wrong for San Francisco this season as they're 5-7. And on the flip side, the Bills with another complete effort, clinching the AFC East once again.
Clinching it earlier than any team has in 15 years in terms of a division. And that speaks to the division itself, but also what they're rounding into, who they're becoming. And this was kind of an interesting day in the NFL because we started on Sky Sports talking about a string of MVP candidates, and there was Lamar Jackson, who took a big national game hit today. There's Saquon Barkley, who I think becomes more relevant as a real conversation piece for those who only want it to be a quarterback. But then there's Josh Allen tonight, and it's not because Josh Allen statistically threw for 400 yards, but how versatile, how incredible. I mean, one of the plays of the season occurs that leaves us all slightly befuddled statistically, if we want to talk about that, to get out of. I mean, that was the biggest play of the game.
Well, yeah, that's how this game will be remembered. Josh Allen on. This game was already getting away from San Francisco, but Allen throws it to his left. Who had the catch on the play?
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper makes the catch. He's about to get wrapped up for a tackle. Josh Allen alertly kind of starts sneaking up behind the play. Cooper alertly tosses it to Allen, who then shoots down the sideline and dives for the pylon for an outrageous hook and ladder touchdown. And I think what you're referring to, Mark, is what people across America and beyond are freaking out about, that Josh Allen ends up getting credited with a passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown on the play, which is one of the all-time fantasy bad beats. People that are out there that lost that way, I feel your pain. But also, to the point, we were on Sky Sports, and I said Allen was my pick, and I even said, tonight felt like for the MVP, you have to have big performances in island games, and for them to stomp the Niners and really put the Niners on the brink of total irrelevance, and to have that memorable play, potentially the play of the year, on the same day Lamar Jackson faltered. Really, I think, and I'm sure the odds makers see it this way, and that's not what it's all about for the Bills, but the fact that they're chanting it in a delirious Orchard Park MVP. They have a special quarterback who it just feels like it's his time right now, and you want to see how far he can take this thing.
Yeah, it does. It's all this is sort of pitch perfect, and it's happening on the right stage. That moment to happen tonight the uniqueness of a Buffalo snowstorm. There was a photo that the Bills tweeted out that we can show you later, but it is him diving towards the end zone after that play, and it's beautiful. But
define later. It's the last game of the day.
I'm going to release it on somewhere this evening. I don't know, but go look it up. Do a little homework. But
right.
It's beautiful. But I first of all, I think the NFL has obviously guidelines around this, but I like this tweet real fast from Steve Palazzolo of Check the Mic, who used to be with PFF. He said, Josh Allen is the first player in NFL history to have a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown on 2 plays. I mean, that happened tonight, literally. But so if you go watch the replay, how do you, I just want to know your opinion on this, because I don't know how you can call that a receiving touchdown. And in the box score, he's got a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown for the same play. And here's the thing. Number one, it really looked to me, and I know that maybe with the snow, all that stuff, it changed, but Amari Cooper is clearly stopped in his tracks. Forward progress is stopped, and he still lets go of the ball. The ball then goes back to Josh Allen, who scores, but that's not wouldn't you say that the pass the part of the play that it was a pass has ended, and then it turns into you called it a hook and ladder. You're like, but that's not a forward pass. That's a lateral that he runs in. So it's like, whether you lost in this in fantasy or you're just sitting here wondering because it's late at night, like, what is happening here? Like, how can you call that a passing touchdown? Like, someone explain it to me, and I'm sure someone will, but it's like, to the naked eye, like, I don't get how the part of Amari Cooper catching the ball, which he clearly did, nearly being stopped in his tracks, but then somehow getting the ball out without them stopping the play. Allen catches it, and it's a passing touchdown?
I don't know, man.
I don't look at how often do I get worked up about this stuff? This one kind of blew my mind because I'm just like,
no, I know where you're coming from. I get it. And trust me, if I had lost the fantasy matchup on that play, I'd be going nuts. But if you're asking for an explanation, it doesn't make any sense to me. Right. It seems like something that should be corrected because you can't get credited for 2 scores when there was only 1 actual score. But I don't know. Maybe that's the story of the game. That's just that Buffalo magic. And this is a team that's won the division and owned the AFC East. They essentially took it over from the Patriots and have not let go. The Dolphins nearly took it last year, but gagged down the stretch, and Buffalo took the division. This year feels very different, though. And, I talked about it earlier with the Chiefs, that to me, my opinion on the Chiefs has started to shift, where I do see them as not just this team that drives you crazy and they always find a way. No, I think they're a team that's ready to be taken out. And I say that because I'm thinking about specifically the Buffalo Bills. And the way they're playing, and they're 1 game behind Kansas City. So, and that's important, to get the home field advantage would be great. But I think the Buffalo Bills absolutely could go into Kansas City in a big spot and win there as well. I think this is a team that is built for January. I think they are well-rounded. I think they're well-coached. And for San Francisco to catch this version of the Bills was very bad news from the start. So, I guess maybe we could turn, Mark, and just say, where do we stand on the Niners? Are we sticking a fork in them? I would think, at least informally, we've already done our fork process for 24, but like, if you're going to tell me McCaffrey's done for the year, I just don't see a path forward. I think it's just one too many losses.
No, and that I understand there's no Brandon Ayuk there, and there's people out, but they're not more banged up at this point in the season than the state of the players on the field. Like a Purdy may be in question, but they can't just point to that, and they're not. But they're losing games decisively. They were absolutely blown to pieces last year, and they were last week against the Packers. They were compromised. This was a no-show again, and it's like,
where's Deebo Samuel this year, by the way? When they
needed
I don't
know.
Guy.
Outside of some big kick returns, you're right, and it's almost like we used to say there's so many weapons that it's impossible to contain them, but maybe they only function that way. Like maybe they need all those pieces on there for them to shine individually, because now that a lot more is on Deebo Samuel, he's been outplayed by Juwan Jennings multiple times. So I'm with you. I think it's just been depressing.
Yeah, and it's not been just the offense either. It's been the offense that's kind of stood out because of how great it's been for much of the Kyle Shanahan tenure. But, I thought that the last Allen touchdown, the scramble for the score, where he's just like Fred Warner is in pursuit. And I talked about Warner last week, that since he had that knee injury in week 4, his play has really fallen off. It's just, again, symbolic of an entire San Francisco team that sometimes these narratives feel too neat and tidy, Mark. But in this case, it really feels like the Niners are a team that got so close in that Super Bowl, and it was like one deep playoff run too many for this team, and they need to find a way how to dream it all up again. So I feel comfortable personally saying, even in an NFC West that is no great shakes, and 5-7 isn't a death warrant playing in that division, but it's getting pretty close. I just don't see enough from this team that there's going to be a big rise. So, I kind of thought this would be their rock bottom moment, and they get the Bears, Rams, and Dolphins in the next 3 weeks. But I don't see any sure wins there either. I think this is just a season that's gotten away from San Francisco. Now they're on a 3-game losing streak. And I just don't see them closing here. I think they're going to miss the playoffs outright. That's the way I feel right now.
I'm with you. I think that there was reason to shrug off too much negativity like, 5, 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, waiting to see if this was just one of those sort of mid-season issues. But no, they don't. There's no fight tonight. One little note, because I think the thing about a team going into Kansas City and winning, I still don't like that idea. Here's Kansas City's schedule. They've got the Chargers, they're at Cleveland, they've got the Texans, they're at Pittsburgh, and then at Denver. There is a real world where the Bills can even things up here, and if this ever went through Buffalo, I think we've got a very different Super Bowl.
And that's all they have to do,
Yep.
because they have the tiebreaker by virtue of beating the Chiefs at home earlier in the year. So yeah, it's all in front of the Bills, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves and dream, but the Bills have never won the Super Bowl. They went 4 years in a row famously in the early 90s and fell short every time, and have been trying to get back ever since. The Lions have never been to the Super Bowl. Those are the two teams that feel like, as we head toward the home stretch here of the regular season, that will be the teams a lot of people are going to be rooting for. But we see what's going on with the Eagles. They have really turned into a big time team, and as much as I'm starting to wonder if the Chiefs are vulnerable, they're obviously a major impediment to Buffalo getting over the hump. So it's going to be a fun stretch run, and the playoffs, at least the top seeds of the playoffs, I feel like this is shaping up for a great finale to the regular season and the playoffs.
Yep, I think the addition of a couple other little teams in there, it's like a Steelers, where it's like you're putting them a tier lower, and I get that, but weird stuff happens. Weird stuff happens.
You're right. I should start putting them in that same category, the way they're playing, and I'm sure there's Vikings fans and Packers fans that say, yeah, don't forget about us. So yeah, it's a bit of a top-heavy league right now, and the Bills are certainly part of that group, and the 49ers are decidedly not. All right, Mark, we got one more game to cover in Week 13, which is?
Well, it's the Cleveland Browns going to Denver, which has been a very kind place to them historically in my life. Denver's always been a welcoming city for the Cleveland Browns. Wonderful things have occurred there.
I believe younger listeners might not be aware, Mark, that you're referring, of course, to The Drive. Or was it The Fumble?
The Fumble, yeah. The Fumble. The Drive happened in Cleveland, then The Fumble.
Do a Wikipedia search out
or
there,
do a
kids.
YouTube search and have you find out where childhood, discontent can start to grow.
Like anything in Mark that compels you to find him interesting, when I talk about Dark Sessler or The Quiet Storm, or just these elements of mystery and perhaps darkness to Mark's personality behind that shiny veneer and genial personality. That all comes from the Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns.
I think you're not entirely wrong.
So that'll be a good thing to talk about on Monday night. So make sure you're there for that. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. YouTube.com/@heedthecall. Pod? Justin, help me.
Yes, pod.
Very good.
YouTube.com/@heedthecallpod.
Hashtag 48.4. We're looking to get to that magical number and subscriptions, and we're slowly but surely working our way there. And that's pretty much it. So, another flagship in the books. Until next time, this is the Zuzzer signing off for The Quiet Storm. Connor Orr somewhere. We got another ominous update.
A lot's happening.
Yeah, from Connor, that his daughter woke up out of a slumber after we finished taping earlier and projectile vomited against the wall. So, tough run for Connor.
Tough for the wall. I mean, it's not a great time to be the wall.
Nah, the wall's in a tough spot, too. So I hope everybody gets better in the Orr household, and we hope you join us next time. Until then, heed the call.